the Mueller report does not bind this committee. It does not bind.
But that was begun in a nonpartisan manner. He was famously the objective arbiter of all this. Let me move on.
I don't think he was the supreme arbiter of this.
All right. Well, I mean, we've known your true colors now when you say we're obstructing, so I guess that.
I am sorry for that phraseology, but the point is that it can become a strategy, let's say, to be able to prevent bipartisanship by simply choosing not to go along if there are other political motivations for that.
I got it. I'm just saying, based upon your earlier scholarship, Alexander Hamilton would want this farce to end, okay?
That clip was a front row seat to Democrat double talk. A Republican from Louisiana calmly brought receipts while the so-called experts tried to wiggle out of their own words like a cat in a bathtub. They screamed rule of law while dodging basic facts and rewriting their own quotes in real time. The hypocrisy was so loud it needed its own microphone. If you love watching Democrats get caught in their own spin cycle, smash like, subscribe, and stay right here. Let's watch the full clip before I give you the full breakdown.
This is the gentleman from Louisiana for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the witnesses for being here. Mr. Gerhardt, over here on your far right.
Sorry, it's a little hard to figure out.
Yeah, sorry. We got a big committee. You said in a recent interview with the New Yorker magazine that, quote, if the president has misled people, unquote, then it could be the basis for impeachment. President Obama made a statement that became rather famous regarding Obamacare, and he said, quote, if you like your health care plan, you can keep it, unquote. It was famously called the lie of the year by PolitiFact. So I don't mean this to be flippant. I want to ask you a question about your intellectual consistency. Is that an impeachable offense?
I would not say so, and it's partly because I think the president made a mistake. Acting in good faith is pertinent to any impeachment inquiry.
Well, but didn't you just explain in your last set of answers here that a violation of the public trust is an impeachable offense? I just heard you say that.
That's true. Absolutely true.
So was that not a violation of the public trust when half of America relied upon that great promise?
I don't think I would say it violated public trust. I think you need two things, at least. One is you need to have be doing a bad act. That's one of the things required. But the other is you need to have bad intent. I think there are times when presidents obviously are mistaken. I don't think that was a deliberate falsehood at all. I think that an inquiry would be justified anytime that this committee or the House has concern about whether or not the president has said or done something with bad faith and that was a bad act.
Okay, in a 1999 article that was entitled The Lessons of Impeachment History, you quoted Alexander Hamilton in Federalist 65, and you wrote, quote, in the Federalist number 65, Alexander Hamilton warned that impeachments often would begin in a partisan atmosphere. Consequently, Hamilton counseled, the further along an impeachment proceeded, the more that members of Congress needed to find a nonpartisan basis on which to resolve the proceedings, unquote. That's what you wrote.
Yes.
The Mueller report, of course, has been out for almost 3 months. As of June 30th, there were 79 elected Democrats calling for impeachment and 0 Republicans. Our friend, Representative Amash, is now a registered independent. So the question is, if this body were to take Alexander Hamilton's advice, shouldn't impeachment be off the table at this point because there's no way that we find a nonpartisan basis to proceed?
The answer is no, and part of the reason for that is because if one party decides to obstruct something, that is to say doesn't agree, can't find common ground, that can't hamstring the institution.
Wait a minute, so are you suggesting the Republicans are obstructing this now?
I'm sorry if that's overstated, but the point is...
It is greatly overstated, thank you for acknowledging. Yes.
But the point is that if it may or may not begin in a partisan atmosphere, you need fact-finding, you need investigation to determine the evidence and the gravity.
That's what we had with the Mueller report, right? 2 years and
not at all.
$30 million and endless resources to do this. Didn't we have that?
Congressman, the Mueller report does not bind this committee. It does not bind.
But that was begun in a nonpartisan manner. He was famously the objective arbiter of all this. Let me move on.
I don't think he was the supreme arbiter of this.
All right. Well, I mean, we've known your true colors now when you say we're obstructing, so I guess that...
I am sorry for that phraseology, but the point is that it can become a strategy, let's say, to be able to prevent bipartisanship by simply choosing not to go along if there are other political motivations for that.
I got it. I'm just saying, based upon your earlier scholarship, Alexander Hamilton would want this farce to end, okay? Ms. Fredrickson, on March 22nd, 2019, your group, the American Constitution Center, issued a press release entitled, quote, Mueller report, how far up the chain did the Trump campaign's efforts to conspire with Russia go? It quoted you, and you said, quote, the question isn't whether members of the Trump campaign conspired with Russia to sway the 2016 elections. We already know they did, unquote. As you may know, conspiracy to commit an offense or to defraud the U.S. is a federal crime under 18 U.S. Code Section 371. I just want to know if you can remind this committee which members of the Trump campaign were charged and prosecuted for conspiring with Russia.
Well, and first I'd like to say that I think it's unfortunate that so many on your side of the aisle don't seem to want to get to the bottom of what happened in terms of the Russian interference in our elections.
To the contrary.
And that
just answer the question.
all of our intelligence agencies have indicated that there was sweeping attacks on our elections, that they were renewed in 2018 with some impact, and that there are anticipated attacks in 2020.
So you disagree with the Mueller report's findings, Volume 1?
I think there is much more work for this Congress to do to understand what Russia has attempted, what they were successful at, and what they're planning.
I got it, but I'm out of time. But just to follow up on that. So with all the vast resources, the $30 million, the endless supply of investigators, the 500 witnesses, everything that the Mueller report had, did, and was involved in for 2 years, you think there's yet more for the people on this dais to dig into, right?
I do. I think there were many people who had destroyed evidence. There were people who Mueller was not allowed to interview. Okay. And so I do think there's, I mean, look, I'm deeply worried about the integrity of our elections, and I hope Congress is as well.
Well, I'm deeply worried about the integrity of your
Gentleman's
organization.
time has
Ford,
expired.
I'm out of time. I yield back.
That Republican congressman walked into that hearing with a scalpel, and Democrats left looking like they'd been hit with a chainsaw. He didn't rant. He didn't posture. He just asked one deadly simple question. If misleading the public is impeachable, then why wasn't Barack Obama's, you can keep your plan lie? And right there, the whole house of cards started wobbling. The witness suddenly needed intent, context, and a stack of excuses tall enough to hide behind. Funny how truth only matters when it hurts Republicans. Then it got even uglier. The Louisiana congressman used the witness's own scholarship against him, quoting Alexander Hamilton on how impeachment must be nonpartisan to have legitimacy. What did the Democrats have? 79 Democrats screaming for impeachment and exactly 0 Republicans. That's not constitutional seriousness, that's a political mob. And when he pointed that out, they tried to flip it by calling Republicans obstructionists, which is rich coming from the party that spent 2 years burning through $30 million and still couldn't find a single charge of collusion. And then came the knockout punch. One of their own legal activists had publicly claimed Trump's campaign conspired with Russia. That's a felony accusation. So the congressman asked the only question that matters. Who was charged? Who was prosecuted? And suddenly it was all fog and feelings, and we still need to investigate. After 2 years, 500 witnesses, and a mountain of subpoenas, they still couldn't name one person because there was no conspiracy. They sold a lie, got caught, and now they want to pretend the Mueller report was just a rough draft. This was Democrats exposed in HD. They demand impeachment based on vibes, accuse people of crimes they can't prove, and cry obstruction when someone actually asks for evidence. The Republican from Louisiana didn't just win that exchange. He revealed exactly how empty the whole impeachment circus really was. When facts show up, the Democrat narrative runs for the exit.